The Jannik Sinner doping saga will soon officially be behind him as the world number one accepted a 3-month ban following the World Anti-Doping Agency's appeal of his initial suspension, where he really missed no tournament play. Still, a lot of Sinner critics, including Nick Kyrgios and perhaps even Novak Djokovic, are not satisfied with this ban, believing Jannik got a favorable sentence because he will not miss any Grand Slam play. But I think the decision is perfectly fair and people are just overreacting and being willfully ignorant. I'll elaborate further in this video. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more content and updates on this situation. So yes, the surprise news from today is that Jannik Sinner will be accepting a 3-month ban from the sport of tennis after he twice tested positive for clostebol, a banned anabolic steroid, while he competed at the Indian Wells tournament last year. For a quick recap of what happened, Sinner said that his physio Giacomo Naldi cut his hand and then used a banned spray which contained the clostebol on his hand to treat it. Naldi then conducted massages on Sinner, which led to transdermal contamination. Sinner received a provisional suspension following each positive test for clostebol. However, Jannik, thanks to his efficient legal team, was able to effectively appeal these suspensions, and separate tribunals convened by the ITIA, the International Tennis Integrity Agency, quickly heard these appeals and they permitted Sinner to keep playing. The situation was kept under wraps for about 4 months, which is standard protocol now, by the way, until a final hearing officially cleared Sinner on the eve of the US Open, and they decided to not ban him at all. However, the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, did not buy the ITIA's ruling that Sinner bore no fault or negligence, and they decided to appeal that decision in September. WADA sought out a 1 to 2 year ban of Sinner. The Court of Arbitration for Sport was set to hear this case and give their final verdict on April of this year, but Jannik and WADA entered a case resolution agreement to have Sinner sit out for a total of 3 months. WADA, who formally withdrew its appeal to CAS, the Court of Arbitration for Sport, issued a statement on the matter which reads, WADA accepts that Mr. Sinner did not intend to cheat and that his exposure to clostebol did not provide any performance-enhancing benefit and took place without his knowledge as the result of negligence of members of his entourage. Real quick, right here, even WADA themselves are saying we know he didn't intentionally cheat, or we believe he didn't intentionally cheat. So I think we need to put at least that behind us, because all the governing bodies say that Sinner didn't intentionally mean to cheat. So you can believe whatever you want to believe. But anyways, however, under the code and by virtue of CAS precedent, an athlete bears responsibility for the entourage's negligence. Based on the unique set of facts of this case, a 3-month suspension is deemed to be an appropriate outcome. As previously stated, WADA did not seek any disqualification of any results, save that which was previously imposed by the Tribunal of First Instance. Sinner, who was set to compete in the Doha 500 in the upcoming week, also issued a statement which reads, "This case has been hanging over me now for nearly a year, and the process still had a long time to run, with the decision maybe only at the end of the year," Sinner said. "I have always accepted that I am responsible for my team and realize WADA's strict rules are an important protection for the sport I love. On that basis, I have accepted WADA's offer to resolve these proceedings on the basis of a 3-month sanction." Sinner's lawyer, Jamie Singer of Onside Law, said, "I am delighted that Jannik can finally put this harrowing experience behind him. WADA has confirmed the facts determined by the independent tribunal. It is clear that Jannik had no intent, no knowledge, and gained no competitive advantage. Regrettably, errors made by members of his team led to this situation." So Sinner's ban runs from February 9th to May 4th, which means that Jannik will be set to return at the Italian Open at home just ahead of Roland Garros. This caused a bit of uproar on socials because people felt that it was unfair for Sinner to be able to negotiate a ban sentencing. But of course, this isn't some new made-up rule or special treatment just for Jannik. Players have long been able to enter an agreement with WADA, and these particular cases of WADA appealing an ITIA suspension, which is pretty rare. People also aren't happy because a 3-month ban means that Jannik will not have to miss Roland Garros. And of course, the Sinner haters are particularly upset about this, considering how Jannik already won this Australian Open. But Jannik is still missing a decent chunk of time, even though it doesn't fall within the span of a slam. Of course, there's the Doha tournament that he has to pull out of now, and then Indian Wells, Miami, where he's the defending champion, then Monte Carlo and Madrid, the other two 1,000 tournaments on clay. play. And as I just mentioned, him defending Miami and then also a few other points are coming off, that means that he is guaranteed to lose 1,600 points. Plus, he could lose his world #1 ranking to Alexander Zverev if the German goes on a few good title runs. Still, this is definitely not a horrible outcome for Sinner by any means, because initially CAS was supposed to hear the case in April, and if they also had implemented a 3-month suspension, Sinner would have definitely missed Roland Garros and Wimbledon. But we also got to remember that this is a win for WADA too. There's a reason why they accepted this whole deal, because there's a chance that CAS would have upheld the ITIA's decision to not punish Jannik at all. So at least they're walking away with something, and him having to sit out for 3 months. And again, I thought that a 3-month ban would kind of smooth over the Sinner hate, considering that he at least did serve some considerable time, especially with Iga Swiatek serving a lesser ban of just 1 month towards the end of last season for testing positive for trimethazine. And yes, I know that Jannik and Iga's cases are not the same, they're different, as Swiatek's contamination was essentially completely out of her control as the melatonin manufacturer was at fault. But no, you had people like Nick Kyrgios say that it's unfair for Jannik to only get 3 months, and then Stanislas Wawrinka said that he doesn't believe in a clean sport anymore, being shady as hell. And then two, the PTPA, which is founded or co-founded by Novak Djokovic, put out this weird statement saying that the system is a, quote, club and a cover for tailored deals and unfair treatment. That was definitely a lot of shade there, saying that the system was a club. And I think that's kind of alluding to how, the ATP, I think the president is Italian, of course, Jannik is Italian. And then they just extended the ATP finals, which are held in Turin, to like more years. So definitely it's a lot of Italian, I guess, influence at the top end of the ATP tour. But definitely, I think people overlooked this little statement from the PTPA because, again, Djokovic founded this association. So this likely is how he feels, not gonna lie. Then you also had Daniil Medvedev come out and say during his press conference, I hope everyone can discuss with WADA and defend themselves like Jannik Sinner from now on. Bro, what do you mean from now on? People have always been able to do this in these situations. Like, it's just a lot of misinformation out there, and it's unfortunate. But just still, people feel that 3 months is not enough for Jannik to serve, considering especially too how Simona Halep, she had a high-profile doping case, and she was sidelined for about 1.5 years after the Romanian alleged that her positive roxadustat test was a result of a contaminated collagen. Now, Halep's case was definitely different from Sinner's because first, the levels of roxadustat found in her system were deemed to be too high from just contamination. And then they also, the ITIA, they found irregularities in her athlete biological passport, which kind of indicates that she had been doping before the suspension. Now, CAS eventually kind of threw out that whole blood doping athlete biological passport case, and they ruled in favor of Halep ultimately. So there's definitely the instance of the ITIA just dropping the ball with Simona's case. But the point being, with everything, with Halep's case and Sinner's case, is just really not as comparable. Of course, too, you have Tara Moore, a lower-ranked British player who was banned for 1.5 years over contaminated meat. And that was definitely wrong for sure. Tara got shafted by that. But first, more simply, unfortunately for her, she did not have the same legal means and resources that Jannik did to get her case, processed faster. Then back in 2021, Ukrainian player Diana Yastremska was suspended for 6 months before successfully proving that her positive test for mysterolone metabolite came from ingesting her boyfriend's semen. I kid you not. And when you compare that to Sinner's case, where, in my opinion, Jannik bore a little less responsibility than Diana did, for example, 3 months is very much fair. And people conveniently missed that Italian doubles player Marco Bortolotti tested positive for clostebol in late 2023, but he quickly got his case resolved and didn't even receive a provisional suspension. WADA didn't even bother to appeal this Bortolotti case, and if anything, it shows that Jannik got a rougher punishment because of his more high-profile status, and WADA seemingly wanted to kind of make a point out of it. My thing is, where's the outrage over Bortolotti's case? People are not talking about this enough, in my opinion. But nah, instead we're comparing Jannik's case to Dan Evans, who intentionally did cocaine. Let's be serious now. One thing most people agree on is that we need greater transparency within this whole anti-doping thing within tennis. People did not like how Jannik was able to keep playing throughout the investigation and how it was kept under wraps, but these have been the rules, or at least were the rules for months leading up to this case. Then also, people did not like how Jannik could reach a settlement with WADA. Again, these rules have already been established before this whole Jannik Sinner clostebol case. I think maybe the governing bodies need to do a better job of having clearer messaging on social media, maybe to combat all the misinformation that, quite frankly, the Sinner haters love to spread. And before y'all start saying that I'm biased, I promise you I'm not. Like, I'm really not a Jannik Sinner fanatic. But what I am a fan of is just the facts and getting out the truth. That's what I care about, and that's why I'm so passionate about trying to get the facts out there. Simple as that. And again, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but I'm just totally moving past the notion that Jannik intentionally used clostebol. WADA even said themselves in a statement that they acknowledged that Mr. Sinner did not intentionally use this. It was a matter of responsibility. And I feel like I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but I got to call a spade a spade. Like, most of the real, like, Jannik Sinner hate, it's coming from Novak fans. Like, it's a lot of saltiness there. Like, a lot of it is from Novak Djokovic fans. It's very interesting to me, and I truly encourage, like, a lot of people saying that this 3-month ban is unfair and stuff, to truly reflect and just not let their disdain for Jannik to cloud their judgment, and just to at least try and look at this case from a nuanced perspective. That's all I have. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole case, and if you believe that Jannik's sentence of 3 months is fair or unjust and indeed preferential treatment. Again, fire away your own thoughts. I'll be free. Again, feel free to fire away your own thoughts. I'll try my best to clarify things in the comments even further. Make sure you subscribe again and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more content on this situation. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.